I think the second, maybe more important thing I learned was the bias of age, that I was in my 20s covering wireless. And actually, I became a senior analyst at age 24. So by age 24, I was actually covering my own stocks. And I had a lot of optimism about wireless because I saw how much my friends were using it to communicate. In the 90s, we all had to use payphones and answer machines, but when you had a cell phone, you could suddenly call each other. And so it seemed very revolutionary to me. Whereas a lot of our clients who were in their 40s and 50s thought of wireless as a yuppie toy. And so they viewed wireless as simply something that the landline companies, business wireline or long distance, would use to protect their existing businesses. So they didn't see wireless as actually a replacement or supplanting landline. They saw it as a way to protect landline. And that also gave us a lot of opportunity because, of course, the world flipped. It must have been 2000 or so. The number of cell phones exceeded the number of landlines. So it took, 8 years, but then the crossover happened. And so that made me realize the world of new opportunity and technology cannot be viewed through the eyes of old people, because older Americans tend to favor incumbency. And, of course, that's actually very true to crypto, because I saw a lot of the echoes of crypto in the 2017 period that looked a lot like wireless, the idea of adoption of crypto.
Was it the realization that you had that these things had network effects, that these were kind of Metcalfe's law-based networks? And why was that different to the landline business, which didn't seem to have, or was it still valued in the same way on network effects, or was it more just straightforward cash flows?
Well, the landline business was very mature in the 90s. So penetration was already 100%. And so I think that landline in the burgeoning era, so that would have been the turn of the 1900s, when they were originally laying the cables, was very much a network effects business, because that landline business was hyper competitive. Because what people were doing in the 1900s was they were laying copper fiber to homes, and they were getting contracts with cities to actually put lines in the cities, on these poles. But believe it or not, they weren't monopoly locations. So there were tons and tons of what they call regional operating companies. And so, many, even by the 90s, there were still maybe 12 regional telephone companies on top of the bells that were spun out of AT&T, which became a monopoly provider in that early 1900s period. So telephony itself was actually the Wild West in the beginning. And there was this pricing regime called intra-lata calling. So phone calls. So you probably, if you weren't growing up in the States, you won't know this, but even in the 90s and 80s, if you were calling your friend who lived one lata over, he might only be literally a 5-minute drive, but he was in what they call a lata area, it was charged as a long distance call.